Well, hello and welcome everyone. It is Cassandra Bourne, founder and host of the Global Cash Summit here again, and I'm so grateful that you're here for this conversation. Today we are speaking with a woman whose work lives right at the intersection of what this summit really is about, not just cash and strategy, but the human nervous system that has to carry all of that. My guest is Dawnese Openshaw, a visionary leader, master transformational and relationship coach, a speaker, an author. She is the founder of Lead the Change and co-creator of the Global Leadership Experience, where she equips vision-driven individuals, families, and teams to live with purpose, build thriving relationships, and create greater impact. For more than 3 decades, she's been inside real homes, real teams, and real hearts, helping people move from emotional autopilot to conscious, compassionate leadership. Her work blends emotional intelligence, trauma-informed communication, family systems, and nervous system aware leadership in a way that is deeply practical and profoundly healing. And inside the Global Cash Summit, her main stage segment is titled How Your Nervous System Determines Your Success. We are going to talk about emotional intelligence, resilience, parenting, strong-willed teens, repairing relationships, and why none of your cash strategies will stick if your nervous system is constantly in survival mode. So if you're a leader, parent, entrepreneur, or human who wants to show up differently for yourself and the people you love, this conversation is for you. Dawnese, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you, Cassandra, and everyone who is watching. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Every time we talk, I feel my own nervous system exhale a bit. So I'm really excited to share with you and our community today. So let's dive in. Let's start at the beginning for those who are meeting you for the first time. So what led you to create Lead the Change and dedicate your life to transformational leadership and generational healing?
Oh, well, interesting. It started at age 14. At 14, my father was a collegiate baseball coach, and a very wise man, still is. And when I was 14, he handed me Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I have no idea what he was trying to tell me. I've asked him. He doesn't know either, doesn't remember. But I know that as a ninth grade student at age 14, that impacted me so much. And in really supporting in knowing that other people got to feel important, starting with their name, right? And that's one of the key things that Dale Carnegie teaches is the importance of a name, and that names matter because it represents who we are. And I also grew up overlooking Stephen Covey's family ranch in my childhood home. So I could see that. And I was a huge Covey fanatic, maybe a little overboard.
Did you ever go walk over to his house?
He didn't. It was up on the bench I could see from my parents' side of yeah. So no, but I did have interactions with several of his family members, including one of his brothers who I just adore. So it started at a young age. And then you ask how I created Lead the Change. There's been so many little breadcrumbs in my life, starting at a very early age, and an opportunity to see people for who they are, not necessarily in that moment, but to see the best in people. And because I've been gifted with that, I wanted to make sure that other people could see that in themselves too. And so a huge part of Lead the Change is really supporting people to see within themselves and to see the things that are their strengths that they get to bring forward, and also to see the things that may not be working, the things that may get to be shifted in their lives, the blind spots, and to support them in not only seeing them, but shifting them and having the support to shift them so that they show up in the best and highest version of themselves.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times we know what needs to be shifted. It's not like we're stupid. We know. We've probably been told a million times in a million different ways in our lives, this is a problem and you need to fix this. But not knowing how to fix it or having the support to address that, it makes all the difference in the world when someone holds you in a loving container and allows you to have a mirror held up with no judgment, but just an understanding that I'm going to help you and hold your hand through this, and we're going to get through this, and you're going to get to the other side, and you're not going to believe who you are on the other side of it. So it is so incredible. So thank you for sharing that. I can
Yeah.
see how this is really lived and embodied. It's personal for you. So let's layer in the uniqueness of how you do this work. You have a unique blend of leadership work, emotional intelligence, trauma-informed communication, and family systems coaching. What shaped this approach for you?
Mm. So, it's interesting, but like the first response I want to share with you is it was intuitive. It was intuitive and led by spirit and the connection. And with that and all of the breadcrumbs that I mentioned earlier, I can see this thread that is woven in my life in all of the different aspects. So Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, transformational leadership, the internal family systems with therapy and working with families. There's been a lot of hurt in my family of origin, a lot of trauma. And then I chose to adopt a daughter at age 5 who had complex PTSD, still does. She's 21 now though. Woo! I just got a call from her about 10 minutes before we started this, checking in with me and being concerned about something. And I got to say to her, stop. She was going off. And she's like, Mom, I'm having a panic attack. It's starting to come. I'm like, stop, honey. Stop. Breathe. Breathe. Take a breath. There is nothing you can do to control that situation right now. Focus on one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. And so because of all my lived experience, that thread that has been woven throughout my life, it brought me to this point of like, okay, how do we take all of these different kinds of aspects of leadership and healing and generational healing and all of the things and bring them into one space, which is what Lead the Change really is. It's looking at the whole of us, where we operate in our families and at work and in our communities. But it's really about, how do I become whole in my journey of life? Body, mind, heart, and spirit.
I love how you've woven that all together. Leadership, your nervous system work, family systems, because that's what real life actually looks like. Like, we don't get to leave our childhood or our family dynamics or our nervous system at the office door. So let's talk about one of the themes that you're so passionate about, living consciously aware versus living on autopilot.
Yeah, so living in intention, living a life by my design versus just letting life happen to me. Just like, I used to say this thing all the time before I became consciously aware, like, oh my gosh, where did my day go? Like, where did that day go? It just flew by. I have no idea what I did or anything, or where did that week go, or that month, or that year. And I find that when I'm living with my intention forward, my vision, my desire, what I want to create, my life has more meaning. I get up in the morning and I know, hey, today I get to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And sometimes I just get to take a day off, right? Like, but I'm taking that day off, or I don't take naps, but some people like naps. There's a difference between doing something to avoid life or push it off, or, just avoid that moment, versus me consciously choosing to take a nap. To take a day off or whatever. It's the difference between by intention and design versus default or autopilot. And there's a real difference.
Yeah, I think a lot of people watching are going to recognize themselves in what you just described. So let's bring in the body and the nervous system. So how do emotional intelligence and nervous system awareness change the way that we show up in our relationships with our families and in leadership roles?
Oh my gosh, in every way, literally in every way, because if I'm grounded in my, and really my nervous system is at a calm and neutral state, how I approach everyone and everything is different. And by different, I mean my emotions don't lead me. I lead my emotions. I used to live a life of massive reactivity. I was the best martyr mom in the whole wide world, right? Like victim, martyr, whatever you want to call it. And when I came to this realization, it was like, wow, I can choose something different when I'm grounded in my nervous system, and what that means, some people are like, what does that even mean? It means that I'm not constantly at this like ready to pounce stage, right? Oftentimes, so many of us walk through life in this low grade stress. We feel it in our necks and our shoulders and our guts and our headaches or our gut aches or whatever. And we're just constantly in like this, okay, what's going to happen to set me off today? And that is no way to live. Mm-hmm. And so when we can take a moment and pause and acknowledge, hey, you know what? I'm feeling this, whatever this is, in this moment, take a breath, put our feet on the ground and really feel into the ground. I'm now present in this moment, not living from my past, not anxious about my future. And when I can create that presence, it's when I become grounded in my nervous system. Mm-hmm. Breath is the fastest way to accomplish that.
That's so true. It's so true for everyone, everywhere. I'm always saying to people, your life can change in the span of an inhalation of a breath. Yeah, yes. You can just choose to inhale and immediately change. Yes. This is where I see so many entrepreneurs and leaders really hit that invisible wall where their strategy is sound in their lives, but their nervous system is still in that survival mode. And I can share with you that when I was younger, I was quite the diva. I had these reactionary, and it was so big. My big reactions was my big personality. And the ex-boyfriends I pity right now when I think of what I put them through. So I'd love to ground this in what resilience looks like today, and day by day for people, especially for those who are listening to you thinking, I'm tired, I'm done. So what does practical resilience look like in real life, especially for those who feel emotionally exhausted?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing is noticing it, allowing yourself to actually name it for what it is. What is, if they're feeling exhaustion, if they're feeling tired, if they're feeling sad, if they're, whatever it is that they're feeling, identifying that takes the sting out of it. We say in cognitive behavior therapy, they say, name it to tame it. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot of life coaches say that too. Name it to tame it, right? The emotion, whatever, or the exhaustion or whatever it is. We can't change it consciously until we first become aware of it consciously. That's what emotional intelligence is in conscious living. Means that I'm bringing the patterns of my unconscious and my life by default, I'm bringing them forward so that I'm now aware of them consciously, so I can make a conscious choice to shift it, to change it, mm-hmm. to recreate it, to reframe it, whatever it is that I get to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mantra really has become believe, be, do, have. And that's really how I live my life now. But one of the phrases that you use that really landed for me is how I show up creates a ripple effect for me, for we, for us. I'd love for people to hear you unpack that.
Yeah, so me, we, us, right? The ripple effect. And then even beyond us is the world, the greater world. So it starts with me. In my nervous system, how am I showing up in any place or space that I am? Am I coming in like a tornado? Woo! At all, like, am I coming in with passion, excitement, love, joy? Am I coming in sad and gloomy? And, like, you can generally, all of us, even though we may not have stopped to identify it, we can recognize a person's emotions or feelings. Mm-hmm. If they're feeling sad or angry or happy or gleeful, we can generally recognize that. So that's more of the we, but the us starts with, how am I showing up? How am I grounded in this present moment? Am I grounded in this present moment? Am I grounded in my nervous system? Am I coming from a space of neutrality versus reactivity? The other thing to notice is if my demands are greater than my resources, I'm in stress and I'm in reactivity, which is a downward spiral. I'm trying to combine those two words. If I am resourced and I'm coming from a space of neutrality, I'm on an upward spiral of creativity. And so it allows for me to be more creative in my business, in my relationships, and so forth. So that's me, right? A lot of focus on me. Why? Because it all starts and ends right here.
Yeah.
It all starts and ends with me. I am the common denominator of everywhere I go. I've been trying to tell my daughter that. She's like, Mom, I want to move. I want to move somewhere else. I want to go do this. I want to do that. I said, honey, I love that you want to do that. And the thing you need to get to recognize is you go wherever it is you go. You are there. You get to work on you first. Mm-hmm. Then there's the we. The we of the ripple are our intimate relationships, our family, our friends, our close friends, and the people who we have the most influence over. And that's where we begin social intelligence. How impacts the people closest around me. That's really seen, my impact on them, and that's seen in the social intelligence. And then we go out into relationship intelligence, and that's also close. I mean, relationship intelligence, really, I could bring a bubble in, but it's about those intimate relationships, the we part, and how relationships are really interwoven in every aspect, including the relationship with myself. So me, focusing on me and my growth and how I show up, the we, my intimate relationships and that ripple, and then us, the larger scale, my colleagues, my neighbors, people that I see but don't necessarily have intimate relationship with. That's the us piece. It's also the communities I belong to, the churches I go to, or whatever. That's the us, and bringing that circle out, but still within my sphere. And then there's the world. How I move through the world impacts the world. I make the world a better place, or I dump all my crap on everyone in the world. Well, I choose, right? I choose how I'm going to be. When I go to the airport and my flight is canceled, am I yelling at the gal at the desk, usually a gal, could be a guy, man or woman? Am I yelling at that person? They have no control over the flight being canceled, but everyone around me is hearing me. Everyone around me is experiencing my anger and frustration. It doesn't support them, doesn't support me, doesn't support the person I would be yelling at. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a ripple effect that happens. So when I'm grounded, I'm operating from the best version of me and my nervous system working, then I create that ripple of a positive impact everywhere that I go. Mm-hmm. No, Cassandra, that doesn't mean that I'm not human, right? Like, we're all human. We all are human. And there's still moments of time where I myself, even after years of working on this, I still have my moments. Let me be honest. And what I've noticed as I practice this is I have less moments. I have fewer moments. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot less to clean up after. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I clean it up faster.
Yes. Yes. Okay, let's go a level deeper into conflict, because that's where a lot of people feel stuck. So in your work, what is the most common source of conflict within families or teams and businesses, and how do you begin to repair it?
Oh, yeah, it's communication breakdown. Hands down, it is communication breakdown. Whether that communication is miscommunication, lack of communication, just whatever it may be, it's they are not aligned because of a communication breakdown. That can be spouses, that can be partners, that can be kids with parents, parents with kids, siblings with each other, bosses, colleagues, all, you name it. When there is a communication breakdown, there's a breakdown in that relationship. And so I don't know about you, but like I have seen like years of, people that become estranged, whether, it be a family member, it becomes estranged. And I've seen that happen years and years and years of developing the space between. And I have seen where people close that gap and they go into those difficult conversations and they create something new. And I just was on a call earlier today with someone sharing that they just went and visited their sister-in-law who they hadn't seen for 8 years.
Mm.
Her husband and her had not seen the sister-in-law for 8 years, and they chose to go into that. They chose to go visit her and sit with her and heal something that got to be healed. At work, it might be the fact that it's someone we're struggling with at work, and we just continue this catty, just like, well, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, conversations, and nothing. It's a lose-lose. It's lose-lose in relationships. In any relationship, we want to look at creating the win-win. And so I don't know if we went deep enough. Is there another question that you have there? Like, there's so much there.
There is so much. There's so much always, always. Well, I know that you work with parents of strong-willed or maybe emotionally explosive teens, and that, you do transformational work with them. So what are the first signs that maybe a parent is stuck in a cycle, or what simple shift can begin repairing connection? And this could be for anyone. This could even be for a business entrepreneur who maybe has, a relationship. So let's go back into the sister-in-law situation. So say, for example, you've had there's been a problem, a conflict, a clash with a sister-in-law, for example, and that impacts your business, your life. And so how would you speak to someone who's going through that right now?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, it's like, what do you want in that relationship? What do you want the sister relationship to look like? The colleague that you're struggling with, the child that you're struggling with. It's really pausing for a moment, taking a breath, and getting clear on what it is that you want to create. And I will, in all honesty, as I will always be honest, sometimes we get so caught up in the stories, the narratives that we tell ourselves, the things we make up about that person or the situation. Not true. It's not true. So now we've got to go and we've got to figure out, how do I unravel what is true and what I've made up about that person or the situation. And so it takes a moment. And oftentimes you may get to be supported by a coach, by a therapist, by someone who can help you unravel that before you can even answer the question, what do you want? What do you want in that relationship? What do you want it to look like? And so it really depends on where you're at in your journey, honestly. Like, can you answer that question? What do you want in that relationship? If not, it's going to take a little bit of time and curiosity. Get curious with yourself. What had me believe this or this about that person? What had me believe this that I made up, right? And really distinguishing fact and fiction is really key in anything that you're starting. And whatever the relationship is, you get to pause and figure out, what are the facts here? And what's the fiction? What have I made up about this person or the situation? Number one step.
Great tool. That really creates safety, presence, and respect, and an ability to be able to move forward and have those difficult conversations with people. So I can imagine people listening right now, pausing, taking notes. So I love how you just bring us back to that safety first, not winning the argument, but really looking at things as a matter of fact. So I want to anchor this now into the Global Cash Summit, because at first glance, someone might say, okay, but what does emotional intelligence have to do with cash, with strategy, with business growth? And you and I both know the answer is everything. Okay, so what will you be sharing during your Global Cash Summit segment? Why is the emotional intelligence essential to financial growth, business leadership, and cash creation?
So key thing is again, it goes back to relationship. What is my relationship with cash? What is my relationship with money? Like, do I attract money? do I turn it away? Do I am I like, I want money, but no, I don't really want it. So it's becoming consciously aware of how I'm operating my business, most likely. But what is my relationship with the cash? What is my relationship with a growing, thriving business? There's this phrase, how good can you take it? And that is all based on the nervous system. How good can I take it? How much will I allow myself to receive whatever that is? Love, money, success, whatever it is. If my nervous system is not ready to receive, I will unconsciously push it away. And so being consciously aware of opening myself up to receive, including cash, I like that, cash, is about me being in a space that I can create abundance, whether it's abundance of my emotional energy, abundance of cash and money flow. If I'm not open, I can say all I want to say, but it's just words. I've got to allow my energy to be open to receive.
Yeah, this work is cash work. It's leadership work. It's legacy work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the energy is so important too. How what you put out in the world is really what you're going to get back. So if you're giving love, if you're being generous, if you're, you know, helping people, and if you're doing the best to your ability with the highest of intention, then what you're going to get back is going to be reflecting that as well. So what is one truth you want every leader, parent, entrepreneur to understand about emotional intelligence and conscious leadership?
Oh, one truth. It's all about you, and it's nothing about you. So, as I mentioned before, you know, how I move through the world, how I choose to show up creates impact. And so it's not about being self-centered. It's about asking myself how I am the catalyst for that ripple. Like the drop in the water or the stone that drops in the water. I'm the catalyst. So it really is about me. And then it's also nothing about me. It's about being a person of generosity and contribution. When I show up in contribution, it's nothing about me. And that's often how we attract more success, more cash, more of all the good things in our life, is we show up in contribution. And when we do that, there's an energetic exchange that happens, and that often, as we're talking about here, it's money. Yay.
Yeah.
But that money is an energetic exchange for a service, for or how I'm supporting another person or whatever that may be. There is that beautiful energetic exchange. And that's just it. Money is an energetic exchange.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you could send one message to the global community right now, what would it be?
The number one thing that stands in way of massive success is your nervous system, because your nervous system can take you out of the game faster than anything. When you're in that stress state and reactive, can take you off track, out of the game, and it can be really challenging to get back on. And so the key thing, I do believe this, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it on social media lately. When you learn to be grounded in your nervous system, you can take it all, as good as it gets and more, and be open to receive the more instead of stopping it because you're not prepared to receive it.
Mm-hmm. Dawnese, I just want to honor you. What I experience in you is someone who doesn't just talk about emotional intelligence or conscious leadership. You actually live it. You walk through it every single day, and you've chosen to turn that into generational healing for people instead of generational repetition. So for those of you watching or listening, if something in your body softened during this conversation, or if you recognize yourself in the patterns we named, or if you felt that quiet yes that says, I don't want to keep leading from burnout and reactivity, then this is your invitation at the Global Cash Summit, January 8th to 10th. Dawnese will be diving deeper into how your nervous system determines your success, how external and internal triggers impact your ability to create, receive, and sustain success, and how to expand your range of regulation and co-regulation and build real emotional resilience. You're also going to have the opportunity to go further with her work through her Mindful Leadership Workshop. This is her free gift for summit attendees, where you can experience this in a more intimate and guided way. And if you haven't yet joined us for the summit, make sure you're on the list. Make sure you upgrade to VIP so you don't miss her full training and the deeper resources she's generously bringing to this community. And to you, Dawnese, thank you for leading the change you talk about, for loving people this deeply, and for reminding us that emotional intelligence is not a luxury add-on. It's really that foundation foundation for healthy cash, healthy leadership, and healthy relationships. Thank you for being with us today. Can't wait to see you on the Global Cash Summit stage.